Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition. So last week we talked about the tribunal and some of the things that I do volunteer-wise. And I'm also doing a segment with my co-host Michael for Hard Hats, Hard Truth. And we're talking a lot about women in trades and a question that I had posed onto TikTok. And, I think I don't want people to get misled in the idea that men don't matter. Because it's not that men or women don't matter or one matters more than the other. It's that we all bring different things. And for the women out there that are able to keep up in a highly demanding and physical job, you're a unicorn and you should be celebrated. Because a lot of women can do a lot of amazing things and can be some great finishers and great welders and electricians and whatnot. But I know that women need extra help for safety reasons, for strength reasons, for lots of reasons that men will complain about. And their complaints aren't completely invalid, because if they're expected to do it, then if the females want equality, then they're expected to do it. So for the women that are, I'm sorry, whatever you've had to be put through, you are a unicorn. You are amazing. You are more than enough. And the fact that you can keep up with them, girl, my hat's off to you. Now, for guys, I think where my biggest point of contention in all of this is that I acknowledge Men's Mental Health Month. I have a cold, so if you hear me sniffling, I'm sorry. I acknowledge Men's Mental Health Month. I acknowledge the mental health that men go through. I acknowledge being the fact that they're passed over, that they're not utilized for their capabilities, that they have to adjust their workloads depending on who's around. But that doesn't go just for women. That goes for men too. I've seen so many men do some shit. And so here's what I'm going to say. To the men that go out every day, whatever you're going through, whatever battles or demons you have going on, but you show up to work every day, ready, willing, and capable. You put 100 to 120% into your job all the time. You are passed over, you are overlooked, you are talked down to, you have poor leadership around you, and you are just expected to pick up the slack. And you do, because you have an impeccable work ethic. Know that you are seen, you are heard, and that even though the people around you that are supposed to matter when it comes to your compensation, when it's supposed to matter come to your productivity, they don't matter. You're a threat. They always say people hate you for one of three reasons. So pick a reason. You live rent free in a lot of people's brains because you are who you are. There are women out there that go through the same thing. I say the same thing to you. There are three reasons why people hate you. We all know what they are. And if you don't, well, look it up. I'm sure if you typed in 3 reasons people hate you in TikTok, it would just show you. You can almost find anything on there. But you are seen. And so when I post a comment for men in mental health, I get really discouraged when they don't go and comment on it, because I want to hear your stories. I want you to showcase yourself. I want you to tell me what your challenges are. People go around and they're like, oh, there's masculine toxicity or toxic masculinity or whatever. And there's all these different things. And there's toxic femininity. And I'm just like, could you guys just like throw all these like fucking woke words out? Because what's really happening is it's just a toxic person is really what it is. Feminists, if you are a legitimate feminist, not a fucking left-wing feminist or a whatever fucking weirdo. I think there's like 5 or 7 types of feminists. Like, fuck, Jesus. If you are a feminist, you're a woman who wants to own her own home, wants to have a voice, wants to have a bank account, wants to be able to celebrate being a career woman with no children, or wants children and the career, wants to have some sort of equal pay or to be measured up for what she brings to the table in regards to intelligence and skill and execution, you're a feminist. If I came online and said, I'm not a feminist, that would be completely fucking preposterous, because it wasn't that long ago that women marched for me to be able to be on air right now. That women went through what they went through for me to be able to be in the trades and have a decent experience. For them to go through the battles, the fights, the everything. Women marched for me, for women like me. And we marched for women under us, for my daughter's generation. We stand united and we say, no more bullshit. We're doing what we're doing. We're learning what we need to learn. We're in the same range. There's more women lawyers. There's more women engineers. There's more women IT. Women are starting to flood industries, and they are coming with so much quality and skill and knowledge. And yes, there's always going to be the one that fucks it up for everybody, just like with guys. There's always the one that just messes it. Like the one comes in and pisses everybody off. And that's why I say, if you meet an owner that's really cold and bitter, sometimes you got to wonder what got them there, because not all of them start out that way. Some of them are just assholes. Let's just not pretend. But there are some that are kind and caring. Don't be fooled by the ones that try to show you one side and then they're like another. Like they want to be the best friend. They want to be real life. They want to be the buddy. And then all of a sudden shit goes sideways and they like turn into like, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. Those ones are a little fucking scary. Dealt with those. But I'm talking about owners who genuinely have a kind heart and you can see it in them, but they're very stringent about rules and policies, and they don't really budge on anything, and they're a little bit colder. You got to sometimes wonder why. It's because it wasn't just one, it was 10 that tried to railroad them when they tried to do good things. Because you know what they say, you give an inch, people take a mile. Whether you're an owner, whether you're an employee, that's how it goes. And for all of you that are busting your backs, when you give an inch, they take a mile, 100%, they are going to exploit your good work ethic. They are going to exploit who you are as a person 100%, because if they can pay you $80,000 instead of paying someone $130,000 and you're going to do the $130,000 job and not bitch about the $80K, then they're going to do it. Sorry, but that's just hard truth on that one. And you need to be your own advocate. You have a voice. And I don't want to hear the fucking DEI hires or whatever. I don't want to hear that shit. Yes, there are diversified hires, but at the same time, what are they bringing to the table other than the fact that they're a diversified hire? Because if they're running circles around you, you've got some splaining to do. And if they're running circles around you and you're making more than them, then your employer has some splaining to do. Because as far as I'm concerned, it comes down to skill and work ethic, capability, and attitude. Right? If you are executing your job, you got a pretty decent attitude on you and you're willing to help and train and learn and bring people up, that's what you should be doing. When people used to come to me and say, I'm going to have your job, I'd be like, come take it. I want to see you take it. And not in the like condescending way, like, haha, you're never going to have my job, but in the actual, like, I want to see you accomplish that goal. Come take my job. I want you to. Not because I don't think I'm good at my role, but because that's my way of saying, I believe in you enough. Do you believe in you enough to come and take my role? Because if you can come take my role, then you win, and so do I. Because that means I've trained you and I have excelled and I have empowered you to be in my role. And maybe that role has outgrown me. Maybe that role is not my fit anymore. Maybe it's yours. Maybe it's your journey. So I want people to surpass what I'm doing, because I think that a little competition never hurt nobody. But when you are able to empower people to take the roles from you, you're going to have more workers that want to actually do it, because it feeds into their competitive nature, but you're also standing there coaching them, mentoring them, and empowering them. That speaks volumes of you as a leader. You want people to be able to do the same things you can do, especially when you own a company. The last thing you want to be is like worried that they're going to become an owner and run out and take all your clients, because people do that when you're a shitty owner and a shitty leader. Because most really good leaders, and I've met a couple of them that are like, yeah, you want to start your own thing. You know, we've coached you, we've mentored you, we've done all we can. And now you're kind of thinking you want to do your own thing and you want to start in this sector. They're not scared of competition. They're a bigger fish. So they're like, you know what, we're a big company and we've got lots of clients and there's lots to go around. And if, you know what, we're going to help you. What do you need? You want to start up? And they leave on good terms. And the owners are saying, yeah, you know what, we'll throw you some that are smaller, and they're helping them. And to me, that's an amazing thing when I can sit there and look at owners that will empower their employees to actually be owners, and then to throw them some stuff to say, listen, like, these people came to us, we're too busy. You know, we referred you. And why wouldn't you? In industry, there should be more of that. Owners should be coming to the table and helping each other. Like there's so much work to go around at the end of the day that why wouldn't you want to help each other? Why is it always going to be like, I'm better than you, you're not going to get anything. And then you're biting off more than you can chew. And then now all of a sudden people aren't getting the quality that you once promised. And you're wondering why your staff is pissed and why the morale's gone down and why your clients are pissed off and why you're getting the 2 and 1 star reviews. It's because you don't know how to play nice in the sandbox to say, you know what, I'd really love to do this, but I'm booked up. So I'm going to push you to this company. And they're really great. And I'm going to name drop a company that does that because they're really great. There's a few of them out there that do it, but there's one that has done it consistently since I've worked alongside them and I've been friends with them. And that company is Fountainhead Mechanical. They're really big on helping their staff. They're really big on throwing somebody else a bone and making having camaraderie inside the industry as owners. And the 2 owners of that company are really great guys, and they are all about that. They're all about being good leaders and trying to stay up with, trying to keep pace with what they have, right? They're not trying to bite off more than they can chew. They're trying to keep their clients happy. They're constantly looking for new innovative ideas of keeping their clients happy, as well as staying current inside of the market, empowering their staff. And so I think that's really great. And so for those of you that don't know what that looks like, you can go and talk to one of the owners over at Fountainhead, and I'm sure they'll happily tell you because they're all about sharing is caring within reason. But that is something I will say. They are a great company. You should aspire to be a little bit kind of like, you should aspire to be like owners like that are very leadership oriented and encouraging, empowering, and want to do right by the client and continue to innovate inside of their firm so that they can keep staying on top of what current trends are. So I think that's great. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of companies out there that are far opposite and are all about control and power. And so for the guys that are working and the women that are working in those companies, know that there are other companies out there that aren't going to treat you like that. I know that we're in a very precarious time in Alberta and in the world, and we're not sure one day to the next of what's going to happen. Everything keeps going up. Everything keeps increasing. It's a scary world right now. And the last thing you want to do is make waves at your job and lose your job and then wonder how the hell you're going to pay for everything. And I get that. Please know that that is something that is very real to everybody, that when it comes down to what are we going to do? Can we move our job? It's not just that easy, Lisa. You're right. It's not just that easy to just be like, I'm out of here. I deserve better treatment. But sometimes you can weasel your way in. Sounds like a bad thing. Weasel your way into the company dynamics to try and create some change. And it's just about planting seeds, and it's planting seeds in the right areas. So that's something I will always encourage you to do, is find the person that's in the management role that's a little bit more, I don't want to say easygoing, that's a little bit more susceptible to change. Like they see the shit going on and they're kind of tired of it too. So you can help them empower everybody else to kind of be on the same page. And sometimes you just have a shitty boss, the guy that owns the company, or the girl that owns the company, the woman that owns the company might be like, well, we're not doing that and blah, blah, blah. And it's a complete fucking wingnut. But I'm going to say it because there's a lot of owner wingnuts. And you just don't see any room. But sometimes what can happen is that the staff and the management teams can create a bit of a utopia inside of it, despite what's going on with the owner. The owner is the one that's like, well, I'm the financial backing and you guys are all my little cogs. But if all the little cogs have their own way of doing something and the company is profitable and the company is doing well, a lot of times the owner won't come in. But if they're one of those control freak narcissists that always have to come in and boast about how great they are, or whatever the fucking case may be, just kind of like gray rock them, where you're like, yeah, you're so wonderful, go away. I would say just gray rock your owner a little bit, not to the point where it's like completely noticeable, but don't create arguments or fights with them. Just be like, okay. And if they're like, well, you're not doing this right. I love those guys that just come in and they have it. It happens in both owner, upper, and middle management. A lot of them are like this, where they're like, nothing you do is right. Meanwhile, you're busting your back. You're doing everything you can to do it, and men and women, and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing that's within your job title, okay, or in your job duties, specifications, responsibilities, requirements, and it's never fucking enough. And there's always something wrong. That's not a you problem. That's a them problem. So remember that when they're going through that with them, and be like, just look at them and be like, okay, so help me understand. Is this part of one of my regular duties now? And if they're like, well, what's that supposed to mean? Be like, well, I have no problem adding it to my regular duties, but then I need to know what I'm dropping or if you're increasing my compensation. That'll make their head spin, and then they'll have a little fucking moment and probably threaten to fire you or whatever. And you're just like, listen, we both know you're not going to fire me. And if they do fire you, well, whatever. I mean, most of the time they run off of like fear. Like they never want to be seen as weak. So they'll be like, well, if you're going to talk like that, then you don't need to work here. And be like, if that's how you feel, that's fine. But I wasn't saying I wasn't going to do it. Let's just be clear. I just need to understand if this is going to be part of my regular role. I was just asking for clarity, and you're looking to fire me because I'm asking to be compensated accordingly if it's adding to my list or if we're removing something from my list, and then it just stays the same, right? So you're just looking for that clarity, and people don't like when you question, talk back, or look for clarity. They don't like that. They're like, oh, well, this person's a problem, which should tell you everything you need to know about that person. If you're a problem because you're trying to gain clarity, that's a person who's scared and threatened by you. You know, I mean, you can be mean about it and be like, oh, we'll play with this. Or you can just be the person that's like, hey, listen, I wasn't looking to cause a problem. I was just looking to make sure I understood what I needed to understand, and let them kind of like unravel. It's actually kind of fun. If you can step back and watch people unravel in their own shit, it's actually quite amusing internally, at least for me, because I'm like, you are so fucking insecure that you are unraveling at me asking for clarity. And I just go, well, I'm sorry that you're having a hard time with this decision. Let me know further, but I'm not going to accept this as one of my regular duties unless we can clarify compensation or if we're moving something else out of my task list. And that's about it. So while I do this segment with Michael, we will move into some of the male comments and maybe why that might be a reality or a valid comment in their world. And then the comments that are just asshole comments, because, you know, we got to make them. And like Michael had said, he's like, oh, they're just all coming in to bitch. And I kind of laughed and I was like, yeah, not wrong. But like I said, there are real concerns, and there are guys out there that are not going to talk about their concerns because they don't want to come across weak, but you're not weak, because I guarantee you're not the only guy going through it. And that's why I encourage it. I encourage men to come online with me or on my profile. You can put yourself anonymous and put down what's going on. There are some guys that are brave enough to do it, and Michael and I will highlight them and say, fucking good on you, bro. But for those of you that aren't, that are scared, that are stuck in the boy code mentality, that it's been ingrained so hard that you're going to look like weak or a pussy or whatever, let me tell you something. The guys that come in and trash women, the guys that come in and say stupid shit and misogynistic shit, those are the pussies, in my opinion. Because like, you're so scared to go and tell people what's really going on in your mind. So you just come in and you create this like, ha ha, well, she should make me lunch, or ha ha, she should do this, or ha ha. And it's like, no. And I always find it interesting when I look at the profiles of the guys that are saying that, because I'm like, are you really this guy? Because I feel like you're hiding behind something. Like, either you're this guy and I feel bad for your wife, mother, children, daughter, whatever, or you're not really this guy and you're just trying to create a facade. And it's, do you really want to be known as that? Is this who you want to be when Jesus returns? But so, you know, it's like, it's kind of one of those things. But anyways, for you guys that are out there that are talking the shit about the females, are you really that guy? Do you really have valid concerns? Because there are men that are posting that are saying, you know what? I've worked with females. Here's the problem. Here's not the problem. Some females, not all females, whatever the case. And I appreciate those comments, because let's talk about it. There are valid reasons why men feel the way they do inside of construction about females working alongside them. And some of them, they fucking ruin it for the unicorns that are out there, that are pulling their weight, that are doing their job, that are learning the tasks, that are, you know, jumping into the trenches and taking the grenades with the boys. We're getting shit on. And then all of a sudden, you know, this one female who's getting, you know, totally, women are getting passed over because another female is ruining it for them by being like, oh, I can't lift this and I can't lift that. I've pulled equipment operators out of their fucking machines, female or not, and said, that's your job, do it. You said you could do it, do it. You want to be paid what you're paid, do it. Don't ask the boys to do it. Don't ask other females to help you. You wanted the role, you wanted the pay, fucking do it. So that's kind of how I look at it. If you want the equality, then you've got to be able to meet them at the same level. So I don't necessarily disagree if a man's making 120K and his female counterpart is making 80K, but he's putting in 12 hours and he's lifting the 80 or 50 pounds like throughout the day. And she's not. She's constantly asking him for help. So now it's doubling his workload. Why would I pay her the 120K when she can't do the same job at the same capacity? Now, if she's doing the same job and she's doubling up her work in the sense of she's now doing a job in 4 hours that should take 8 hours, then yeah, she's worth every penny of that 120K because she's now, her work productivity is much higher. Her work output is much higher. So those are things you have to look at too, because I always hate when people are like, oh, well, hourly, she should only be paid this because she's doing it in half the time. No, she should be paid double because what it takes your guy to do in 8 hours, she's doing in 4. So she should be paid the same, if not more, because now she's actually moving up your productivity because she's taking half the time. And that goes for men too. When men can do things in half the time another guy can, why is he being paid shit? Like, that's your golden goose. The guy that can come in and run circles around people and keep somewhat of a smile on his face and is not an asshole. Why are you shitting on him? Because there's so many guys out there that are really nice, that want to train, that want to help, that are part of the morale, the big morale package and keeping it up there. And they're running circles around even their managers. And people are like, oh, that guy's a problem. And I'm like, is he though? Is he? I feel like that's your golden goose and you're like shitting all over it, but I digress. So anyways, you guys will hear me tomorrow with Michael. We'll be back on for Hard Hats and Hard Truth segment. And I don't know what we're going to pick. You know what? I haven't, there's so many fucking comments. I was listening to some of my episodes because I was listening to my episodes. And I think that we were going to talk about padding resumes. I think that's what we're going to talk about. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. It might be Michael's turn because I totally fucking sideswiped him on the last one. So I think it'll be Michael's turn to pick and see if he can sideswipe me, which I doubt because I read all the goddamn comments. But yeah, anywho, you guys have an amazing rest of your week. We'll catch you tomorrow and don't do anything crazy.